It is a quiet, windless night. The time is past midnight. There's nothing moving, and every living thing is asleep. A settled darkness. The town is like a dark sea that only has moonlight to illuminate it. The clouds are moving. There's no wind at ground level. But way up in the sky, the air is roaring and letting the overlapping clouds flow. There is some wind. Maybe she can hear the wind. Looking up at the wind in the sky, she mutters quietly. The one standing quietly in the yard, glaring at the sky, is a girl called Saber. Her golden hair is beautiful even in the dark night, and her clear green eyes are watching the appearing and disappearing moon. She casts a glance to the corner of the yard. There's an old shed, and her master is sleeping inside it. It does not matter if you say you do not want to fight. A clang. The echo of steel melts into the night without reaching anyone's ears. The moon disappears and appears. In the instant the clouds in the sky float past, the girl's appearance is completely changed. Heavy, hard silver armor. Her figure covered in blue clothes is not something you can call a girl now. The impregnable defense is made from magical energy overpowering others, and an invisible sword, hidden by magical energy beyond human levels. That figure, said to be invincible in the battlefield, proves their existence to this day. Even with the invisible sword, Her Majesty proves that she's an excellent swordsman. That's why she is Saber. The one said to have the greatest power of the 7 servants, the hero of the sword. A knight among knights, true to decorum and acting on its master's order. Whatever the other heroic spirits may be, she's an ideal swordsman who will not disobey her master. But that ends today. She's going through her rebellious arc. Sorry. She's hereby disobeying her master's order. No, she is not disobeying her master. She's considered how to make her master win, and the result of her decision is this. He is too easygoing. He will just be killed by another master like this. But her master this time will not be able to fix his personality, so it will be her role to devote herself to being heartless. If the master's not going to fight, his sword will have to fight. The wound is not healed yet. I cannot hope for supply of magical energy from my master. But still, there will be no hindrance in battle. Confirming her own abilities, she returns her gaze to the moon. She's no more interest in the shed her master is sleeping in. As she has taken arms, the only thing in her is the will to defeat her enemy. The moon glooms. Just as a large cloud covers the sky, Saber jumps over the wall of the house. She runs through the darkness. The silver night runs through the sleeping town. There's only one destination, the sacred mountain on the outskirts of town, the Ryudo temple located on top of it. Even Saber understands how hard it will be to single-handedly kill the master at the temple. As Shiro says, it is obvious she will suffer great injury. In the worst case, she will be the one killed. But what kind of a servant would she be if she couldn't do something like this? The servant is supported by their superior abilities and the pride that they have built up. They have pride as heroes and confidence that they are the strongest who have fought through many battles. She's a heroic spirit passed down and honored from the ancient times, so defeat will not be acceptable no matter who the enemy is. No, even imagining defeat is unforgivable. Even though some childish parts remain, she's no exception. Because she is crowned with the name Saber, she cannot ignore her pride. Her pride will not allow her to just observe when faced with an enemy. Therefore, she will not falter no matter what kind of trap is waiting, and all she can do is challenge by herself. If they say there's no chance of victory, she will create one with her own sword. The sword in her hand is a fine sword that has defeated many foes. As she has the invisible air, there's nothing for her to fear. She runs through the mountain pass and up the road to the temple. What awaits her after the mountain pass are great stone stairs. This is different from the Ryudo temple she remembers. The air is stagnant, the wind is dead, the ley line of the land is already contaminated. This place is a land of death. Once entered, one will not be able to exit alive. But there's no hesitation. Saber's speed does not drop one bit as she runs up the steps. She runs through the scene. The sound of her kicking the stone steps echoes into the air, and the mountain starts to squirm noisily. They are long stairs. The temple gate is far away, even for Saber, who is running like an arrow. To run such a long distance without being detected is impossible. There will certainly be a surprise attack. The gate should not be easily reached. But no matter what scheme awaits, the only thing to do is defeat it in advance. Nothing can stop her now. Even if Berserker appears, she'll break through it. That is the product of her determination and confidence. Saber feels so complete that she can break through any obstacles. And at the top, when she's about to reach the temple gates, that obstacle appears. Saber stops. Even she, determined to beat any enemy, is surprised by this enemy. A natural emotion. The gallant figure of the man that appears is far too lacking in enmity and unbelievably free of any openings. You. Stopping, Saber readies her invisible sword. The man with the moon at his back wards off Saber's killing intent as if it were just a light breeze. A samurai? She must be surprised by an opponent she's heard of but never seen before. Her second Holy Grail war. Even for she, who has seen many heroic spirits, this is a first for a servant like this. Sweat forms on Saber's brow. Not because of fear, but because it is incomprehensible. It's not as if there haven't been strange servants like him before. There should be no servant more mysterious and suspicious than Archer from last time. In comparison to that, the servant in front of her has no fearful aspects, nor a fearful weapon. That is why it is strange. Nothing can be felt from the man. There's no doubt that he's a servant, but there's no sense of any magical energy, nor a hero's noble phantasm. So beating him should be easy. It's true that this match would be over in one blow, but her instincts tell her this. Do not underestimate him. The servant has a way to seize a certain kill. She cannot approach. It could be said that the range of the man's weapon, the Japanese katana, is hard to judge, but above it, Saber's location is at a disadvantage. Above and below the stairs. There's about 5 meters between them. She would certainly receive that sword before she could run up and rush him. But nothing can be felt from that sword. It should be easy to repel it. So she should not hesitate and rush in. But Saber instinctively understands she cannot close in without care. She adjusts her stance slightly and glares at the enemy in front of her. His identity is unknown, but she should at least determine the class of this samurai. I ask of you, which servant are you? Saber asks, not expecting an answer. With a smile. Servant assassin, Sasaki Kojiro. The servant says so, as if singing. It's only natural for Saber to be surprised. Servants should hide their identities. Where in the world would you find a servant that just comes out with it himself? What are you? It is rude to ask like that. It's only natural to name oneself before a match, is it not? All the more so if the opponent is a fair one as you are. I would not expect for you to make a face like that. Assassin, the man who called himself Sasaki Kojiro, continues, as if enjoying Saber's confusion. Saber surely does not know that this servant is a swordsman who wielded a katana called Monohoshizal and was often rumored to have no match in this large world. What would change even if she knew? His birth is unknown, and even his existence is uncertain. His story was only told through word of mouth. There was only one who knew the existence of this swordsman, that being the worthy rival of the rare skilled swordsman. The only one being his enemy who defeated the man called Sasaki Kojiro. One cannot call this person a hero. The servant assassin, Sasaki Kojiro, is in existence quite unlike Saber. What servant would know the skills of a swordsman who is usually not treated as a hero? But there are only two truths in front of her right now. That this man in front of her is her enemy, and that he's given his name. You have me. It is the etiquette of a knight like me. Oh, it is the etiquette of a knight for me to introduce myself if I am given your name. Saber's voice in reply is heavy. For her, it's too risky to state her true name. She cannot reveal her true name no matter what torture she receives, and she has no intention of revealing it. That's only for the sake of victory. She cannot disgrace the faith of the knight for such a thing. You called yourself Kojiro. Servant assassin, I am... Stop. I see. You are the kind that must introduce yourself in return if given my name. No, it was I who was rude. Clank. Assassin descends the stairs elegantly and confronts Saber. I do not intend to know my enemy like that. For us, these swords shall be enough to know our enemies. Am I wrong, Servant Saber? It should not be that surprising. I do not know what it is you are holding, but the pressure on your body is that of a swordsman. That dazzlingly beautiful aura of swordsmanship. Who else could you be but Saber? Another step. Assassin descends the stairs and directs the point of his sword at Saber. I do not care about your true name. There will only be the fact that Servant Saber suffered defeat by my sword. There's nothing to discuss. From the beginning, servants are such beings, are they not? The swordsman smiles happily. I see. Certainly that is true. Answering, she readies her sword close to her. That is good. Then let us duel, Saber. I must see your sword skills, said to be the best among all servants. The silver light jumps. Hardness and softness. The fight between the two very different swordsmen begins under the moonlight.